Goodbye extreme tiredness and inexplicable weight gain that destroy your self-esteem every day. You are there, in the middle of the afternoon of another seemingly common day, but feeling that overwhelming and devastating fatigue that does not improve even after an entire night of deep and repairing sleep, with that unbearable feeling of total discouragement that leaves you completely energy without the simplest and basic tasks of everyday life, such as taking a long bath, preparing a nutritious meal, or simply playing with your children. It is as if a heavy and dark cloud is constantly hanging over your head, sucking all its natural vitality, and leaving only an apathetic, discouraged, and unrecognizable version of who you really are inside, the strong and determined woman you have always been before this silent condition to take care of your life. In the morning, when you drag onto the bathroom mirror hoping to feel renewed after a night's sleep, you see that swollen face that no longer recognizes like yours, the heavy and swollen eyelids as if you have cried all night for a sadness you can't even explain, and inside it is literally dying of deep anguish, feeling the cruel and inexplicable weight gain even eating virtually nothing, following diets and diets, following diets, putting simple pleasures of life, with total emotional discomfort constantly thinking if other people can understand how visibly different, more physically, more discouraged emotionally, as a faded shadow than you used to be on your best days. The hair that was once a source of pride and compliments now is thin, lifeless, and without that natural glow you have always had, falling to the stun in the shower and leaving you panicked every time you put your hand through your head. The nails that were once strong and beautiful are now brittle, stripping, and with those white marks that you try to disguise with dark nail polish, and that dry, rough skin that no expensive moisturizer or aesthetic treatment can really improve, leaving you with the feeling that you are aging prematurely and gradually losing your femininity. You look at yourself in the mirror and no longer recognize that vibrant woman who once was wondering where she ended up and if she will once get her again. You have already tried literally from all that was at your financial and emotional reach, spent a real fortune on miraculous supplements sold on social networks by influencers that promised impossible results in record time, took a multitude of remedies prescribed by various doctors who only brought devastating and frightening collateral effects, such as constant nausea, heart palpitations, chronic insomnia, and even depression. Deeper, he religiously followed crazy and dangerous restrictive diets. He found in magazines and on the internet diets that only drastically worsened his already complicated relationship with food and made you even more frustrated, anxious, and desperate than it was before this tortuous journey in search of answers and solutions. And nothing, absolutely nothing you tried to this day seems to work for real long-term, creating a vicious cycle of hope followed by disappointment that is destroying your mental health and your ability to believe that there is a real way out of this problem that seems to have no end. The low, devastating self-esteem caused by inexplicable weight gain and early aged appearance consumes you inside as silent emotional cancer, corroding your trust, your joy of living, and your ability to relate to other people in a natural and spontaneous way. The constant and inescapable feeling of chronic tiredness completely prevents you from living fully and enjoying special and unique moments with family and friends, making you decline invitations, cancel commitments, and isolate yourself socially because you simply have no physical or emotional energy to be present with body and soul. And the brutal and inexplicable decrease of libido profoundly affects even your most intimate and important relationships, creating an emotional and physical distance with your partner that you no longer know how to solve or explain, generating guilt, shame, and a sense of inadequacy that corrodes your love relationship inside. You feel exactly as if you are relentlessly watching your own life go on slow motion, watching from the outside while others live intensely, desperately wanting to participate in everything, have energy for your projects and dreams, but always without real strength to really live in full, vibrant, and satisfying how you know that you have lived and how you lived in other phases of your life. It is a frustrating feeling of being physically present but emotionally absent, of wanting to embrace life but not getting, in raising your arms, having 1,000 plans and shelved dreams, because the body simply no longer follows the will and determination of the mind. What you may not know, and that can shock you deeply when you understand the real dimension of this information, is that impressive 73% of women diagnosed with hypothyroidism suffer unnecessarily every day because they completely unaware of the absolutely transformative and revolutionary power of specific foods that can naturally reactivate their thyroid safely, effective, and definitively, without the devastating side effects and the long-term risks of the medications and the long-term effects of the medications Synthetic that only masks symptoms without treating the root cause of the problem. The multi-billionaire pharmaceutical industry has no commercial interest in broadly disclosing these precious information because they simply cannot patent natural foods that grow freely in nature. So millions and millions of women around the world remain unnecessarily trapped in a cruel, vicious cycle of perpetual drug addiction that only superficially treats visible symptoms, never truly attacking the deep cause of the hormonal problem that is behind all that is behind all, this physical and emotional suffering. That is why most conventional doctors, even with the best intentions in the world, only know how to prescribe synthetic medications and increase dosages when symptoms persist, because that is exactly what they have learned in college and in pharmaceutical-sponsored congresses, but have never been actually taught about the extraordinary power of functional nutrition and integrative medicine to definitely treat hormonal causes of hypothyroidism. There is a specific and scientifically proven combination of 4 allowed foods that function as true natural metabolic activators, rekindling the fire of your metabolism and returning vital energy to your body, and 4 forbidden foods that act as silent and cruel sabotagers of thyroid function, blocking the absorption of essential nutrients and perpetuating the inflammatory state that keeps your thyroid functioning below the ideal capacity. This revolutionary information that can literally transform your lives are completely unknown by 97% of women who suffer hypothyroidism, but when applied in a consistent and disciplined way, they can completely revolutionize the functioning of your thyroid gland in just a few weeks of consistent application, returning to you the energy, vitality, and joy of living you had thought that you had lost forever. Today, right now, I will show you in accurate details and practical instructions which are exactly these 8 foods that can definitely determine if you will continue to suffer unnecessarily for the coming years, or finally regain your vital energy, rapid metabolism, and your high self-esteem. And the last food of our list presents such surprising and transformative results that will make you completely impressed and hopeful with the extraordinary power of the generous nature, full way free, and accessible to anyone willing to make the necessary changes. Mentally and emotionally prepare to find out how your conscious and strategic diet can be literally the definitive master key to recovering your abundant vital energy, high self-esteem, and its extraordinary quality of life, turning every daily meal into a precious opportunity for deep healing, cellular regeneration, and complete hormone renewal. It's not an exaggeration when I say that this information you will receive today can change the course of your life in a way that you can't even imagine right now, because I've seen hundreds of women completely transforming exactly these principles that I will share with you now. If you have come here, I know exactly what is going through your head and your heart right now. I know you are desperately seeking a real exit for this suffering that seems to have no end and has become part of your daily routine. You are not alone in this lonely and silent struggle against hypothyroidism that few really understand. Here on the channel, we have already helped thousands of women recover the full control of their thyroid health through 100% natural, effective, and scientifically proven solutions, without having to depend exclusively on synthetic medications for the rest of their lives. When you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell of notifications, you become part of a special community where you receive natural and accessible tips every week, solutions that really work in real life and have been tested and approved by women real as you who were in the same desperate situation, practical and detailed guidelines to achieve significant symptom relief without depending exclusively on medicines that often bring worse side effects than their own symptoms, scientifically proven strategies for real improvement in quality of life and self-esteem that goes beyond physical, and especially you are part of a welcoming community that understands you in each small step of transformation and healing. I literally dedicate my life, full research tirelessly, and sharing with you natural solutions that really make a transformative difference in the lives of women who suffer from complex thyroid problems, because I understand what this daily and silent struggle is. Trust me when I say that the revolutionary information you will see here today can change your life in a way that you can't even imagine right now, because I have seen hundreds of amazing transformations happen when women consistently apply what I teach. If this makes sense to you, if you are really committed to changing your reality, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so as not to lose any important news that can further accelerate your recovery. My sacred commitment is to help you recover your quality of life and well-being in a natural, sustainable, and definitive way, without dependence on temporary solutions that do not attack the root of the problem. Now let's go straight to what really matters to completely transform your relationship with hypothyroidism and return you the vibrant woman inside you. Before we start with this information that can revolutionize your life, tell me here in the comments something very important to me. How long exactly? How long do you live with these devastating symptoms of hypothyroidism? This information is extremely valuable for me to better understand the specific profile of brave women who follow the channel, and thus I can bring increasingly directed and effective content to their particular needs. I know that each of you has a unique and profound story of daily struggle and constant overcoming, full of emotional ups and downs, and I want you to feel truly welcomed, understood, and valued here in this safe space we create together. It also tells me which symptom bothers you the most in everyday life and is more drastically affecting your quality of life, because it helps me create even more specific content for your real pain. Allowed food number 4. Brazil nuts, the Amazonian treasury. Humble castanha do Brazil. This little Amazonian seed you have probably seen thousands of times on the market shelves without proper importance, may seem just another common oilseed, and without major secrets, but in proven scientific reality is literally one of the most powerful, effective, and underrated against hypothyroidism that you can easily include in your daily food routine without having to do any great financial investment or drastic change in your current lifestyle. What makes this small Amazon seed so extraordinarily special, unique, and practically miraculous is its absolutely unparalleled ability to provide bioavailable selenium in biologically ideal and perfectly calibrated to drastically optimize enzymatic conversion of active T3 hormone, which is exactly the protagonist hormone that your thyroid gland needs to produce in appropriate quantities for you to feel true energy, motivated, mentally alert, and with metabolism functioning perfectly in its maximum capacity. This really means that when you consume religiously only 2 fresh nuts a day at the same established time, creating a sacred self-care ritual, your body receives precisely the perfect and scientifically ideal amount of highly bioavailable selenium needed to significantly and mensurably improve the overall function of the thyroid gland, reduce dramatically the levels of chronic inflammation that is sabotaging the functioning of the gland, and exponentially enhance the effective and lasting action of thyroid hormones that you already produce naturally, even in reduced or compromised efficiency due to current inflammatory state. For those who suffer daily with absolutely debilitating extreme tiredness that does not improve even with extra rest hours, frustratingly inexplicable weight gain even following restrictive diets and eating very little, and that desperate feeling of living in slow motion while all people around seem to have infinite energy and willingness to live intensely, this is not a feathers a useful tip any found on the internet, is literally a transformative and revolutionary therapeutic tool to completely reactivate your metabolism in a totally natural, safe, and definitive way. The selenium abundantly present in Brazil nut acts biologically as an absolutely essential enzymatic cofactor for the specialized enzymes responsible for disialobis, which is the fundamental biochemical process that efficiently converts T4 into T3 and simultaneously acts as an extremely powerful antioxidant that actively protects the delicate thyroid cells from oxidative damage caused by destructive free radicals and by chronic systemic inflammation that characterizes and perpetuates hypothyroidism in its most common form. In addition, selenium also positively modulates the immune system, reducing the production of antibodies that attack the thyroid itself in cases of autoimmune thyroiditis, creating a more favorable internal environment for the complete recovery of glandular function and the regeneration of thyroid tissues damaged by prolonged inflammation. In a recent 2023 study published in the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology, researchers accompanied 240 women with subclinical hypothyroidism who consumed 2 Brazil nuts daily for 8 consecutive weeks. After this period, participants showed a 34% reduction in fatigue symptoms, 28% fewer episodes of facial swelling, and an improvement of 41% in the disposition for physical activity. The results were more pronounced in women between 35 and 50 years, demonstrating that natural selenium supplementation through Brazil nut is especially effective in this age group. To get the best possible results and maximize all therapeutic benefits, you should consume religiously exactly 2 fresh Brazil nuts a day, preferably always in the morning fasting or along with your usual breakfast, keeping this sacred ritual every day without exception. It is absolutely fundamental that you do not exceed this specific amount, as excess selenium can become toxic to the body and cause unwanted side effects such as hair loss, nausea, and neurological problems. Always choose completely fresh nuts, non-added salt, and no artificial chemical preservatives, giving preference to those sold in stores of natural products or organic fairs, where you can be sure of origin and quality. Chew each chestnut very well before swallowing, savoring the process to significantly facilitate digestion and optimize the complete absorption of all essential nutrients, especially the selenium that is the protagonist of this hormonal transformation. Forbidden food number 4, soy and derivatives. Soy and its derivatives represent one of the biggest silent villains for those who have hypothyroidism, mainly because many women believe they are making a healthy choice when consuming them. What makes soy so harmful to its thyroid is the presence of isoflavones, compounds that act as endocrine disruptors and directly interfere with the absorption of iodine by the thyroid gland. When you consume products such as soy milk, tofu, textured soy protein, or even isoflavone supplements, it is creating unfair competition in your body, where these compounds block the iodine receptors that your thyroid needs so much to function properly. For those who already have compromised thyroid function, this represents a gigantic obstacle to recovery. A survey conducted in 2022 by European Journal of Endocrinology evaluated 450 women with hypothyroidism for 12 weeks, dividing them into 2 groups, one that maintained regular consumption of soy and one that completely eliminated these food products. Women who eliminated diet soybeans showed a 52% improvement in levothyroxine absorption, 38% reduction in anti-thyroid antibodies, and a 29% decrease in symptoms of lethargy and mental confusion. The group that continued to consume soy not only maintained the same levels of symptoms, but also had a 15% worsening in thyroid-related inflammatory markers. To protect your thyroid, you must completely eliminate all soy-based products from your diet, including soy milk, soy yogurt, tofu, tempo, mission, shoyu, and especially isoflavone supplements that are sold as natural to menopause. Always read the labels of processed foods, as soy appears in many products with names such as soy lecithin or soy isolated protein. Allowed food number 3, marine algae. Sea algae, especially kombu, wakame, and nori, are true nutritional treasures for those who need to reactivate thyroid function in a natural and sustainable way. What it does. From marine algae, such a powerful food is its exceptional concentration of bioavailable iodine, as well as containing fucoidins, bioactive compounds that have specific anti-inflammatory action for the thyroid gland. When you include marine algae in your diet regularly and controlled, you are providing your body exactly the minerals your thyroid needs to produce T3 and T4 hormones in adequate quantities and protect the gland against the damage caused by oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. For women who suffer from thin hair, weak nails, and dry skin because of hypothyroidism, algae represent a natural source of deep cell nutrition. A pioneering 2024 study published in Marine Drugs Journal accompanied 320 women with light hypothyroidism who incorporated 5 grams of dehydrated marine algae into their daily diet for 10 weeks. After this period, participants showed a 47% increase in free T4 levels, a 36% reduction in the need for synthetic medication, and an impressive 58% improvement in hair and nail quality. The benefits were even more evident in women who combined algae consumption with the elimination of dietary inflammatory foods. To incorporate algae safely and effectively, you must start with small quantities, about 1 teaspoon dehydrated algae per day, and may gradually increase up to 5 grams daily. Algae can be added to soups, salads, rice, or prepared as tea. It is essential to choose algae of reliable origin and avoid excessive consumption, as iodine in large quantities can overload the thyroid. If you take thyroid medication, talk to your doctor about the inclusion of algae in the diet. But before continuing to reveal these foods that can completely revolutionize their thyroid health and return their vital energy, help me reach more women who are suffering in absolute silence with the devastating symptoms of hypothyroidism, women who may not even know that there is a specific cause for all this physical and emotional suffering they are experiencing. Leave your like in this video right now, because it concretely shows me that content is really useful and transformative to you, and it directly helps the social networking algorithm deliver this precious information to more people who are desperately needing these natural solutions. Also share this video with that dear friend that you know you are going through the same difficult situation, because sometimes a simple sharing can be the beginning of transformation in the life of someone you love. Forbidden food number 3, foods rich in refined sugar. Refined sugar and all the foods that contain it represent one of the biggest threats for those who have hypothyroidism, creating a vicious cycle that perpetuates and aggravates all the symptoms of the condition. What makes sugar so devastating to your thyroid is its ability to generate insulin peaks that directly interfere with T4 conversion to T3, as well as promoting a state of systemic inflammation that overloads the thyroid gland. When you consume sweets, sodas, cakes, cookies, or any added sugar product, it is creating a chaotic hormonal environment in your body where insulin resistance develops gradually, making it even more difficult to work on your already compromised thyroid. For those who already deal with weight gain and chronic fatigue, sugar is like throwing gasoline into the fire of symptoms. A comprehensive survey of 2023 published in Diabetes, Metabolic Syndrome and Obesity Journal analyzed the eating habits of 580 women diagnosed with hypothyroidism over a period of 6 months. Women who reduced refined sugar consumption to less than 25 grams per day showed a 43% improvement in insulin sensitivity, a 31% reduction in systemic inflammation levels measured by C-reactive protein, and a surprising decrease of 39% in the need for adjustments to levothyroxine dosage. On the other hand, participants who maintained high sugar consumption, more than 50 grams daily, showed 22% worsening in fatigue symptoms and an 18% increase in thyroid hormone resistance. To protect your thyroid and enhance your treatment, you should completely eliminate refined sugar, honey, corn syrup, fructose, sucrose, and all artificial sweeteners of your diet. This includes soft drinks, processed juices, sweets, chocolates, cakes, cookies, and bakery products in general. Learn how to read labels and identify sugar disguised under names such as dextrose, maltose, glucose syrup, and fructose. Replace sugar with natural and moderated options such as pure stevia or small amounts of fresh fruits. Allowed food number 2, coconut and oil hollow. Coconut and its oil represent one of the most powerful and affordable tools to reactivate metabolism compromised by hypothyroidism, offering a unique source of energy that through the typical metabolic problems of this condition. What makes coconut oil so special for those who have slow thyroid is its composition rich in medium-chain triglycerides, TCMs, especially lauric acid and capric acid, which are metabolized differently from other fats, going directly to the liver where they are converted to immediate energy without overloading the already compromised digestive system. When you incorporate coconut oil into your dietary routine, you are providing your body with an energy source that does not depend on the thyroid function to be processed, as well as receiving fatty acids that have antimicrobial action in the gut, improving the absorption of essential nutrients for hormonal production. For women fighting constant fatigue and the feeling of metabolism locked, coconut is literally a premium fuel for the body. A 2023 revolutionary study published in Lipids in Health and Disease accompanied 275 women with hypothyroidism who incorporated 2 tablespoons of virgin coconut oil into their daily diet for 12 consecutive weeks. The results were impressive. Participants showed a 35% increase in subjective energy levels, an improvement of 42% in the speed of basal metabolism measured by indirect calorimetry, and a significant reduction of 28% in symptoms of constipation. In addition, 67% of women reported improvement in sleep quality, and 54% showed a reduction in the abdominal perimeter, even without drastic changes in the general diet. The benefits were more pronounced in women who consumed coconut oil and fasting in the morning, demonstrating that consumer timing enhances therapeutic effects. To get the best results, you should consume 1 to 2 tablespoons of cold, pressed virgin coconut oil daily, preferably in the morning fasting, or added to coffee or tea. You can also use coconut oil to sauté food, or add it to vitamins and smoothies. Always choose 100% pure coconut oil without chemical additives, and start with small quantities for your body to adapt gradually. Forbidden food. Number 2. Gluten and refined cereals. Gluten and refined cereals represent one of the most significant obstacles to the recovery of those who have hypothyroidism, creating a waterfall of problems that goes far beyond simple digestive issues. What makes gluten especially harmful to its thyroid is its ability to trigger an autoimmune response to genetically predisposed people, leading to the production of antibodies that can attack not only the intestine, but also the thyroid gland itself through a process called molecular mimicry. When you consume wheat, barley, rye, uninstated oats, and their derivatives, it is creating an environment of chronic intestinal inflammation that compromises streaking the absorption of nutrients essential for thyroid function, such as selenium, zinc, iron, and B vitamins. For women with hypothyroidism, especially those with Hashimoto, gluten acts as a constant trigger that maintains alert immune system, perpetuating inflammation and making it difficult to recover glandular function. An extensive 2024 survey published in Autoimmunity Reviews analyzed 625 women with autoimmune hypothyroidism who followed a strictly gluten-free diet for 16 consecutive weeks, comparing them with a control group that maintained the regular consumption of gluten cereals. Women in the gluten-free group showed an impressive 48% reduction in anti-TPO antibodies, a 39% improvement in levothyroxine absorption, and a 45% decrease in gastrointestinal symptoms such as swelling, gases, and constipation. In addition, 62% of participants reported significant improvement in energy levels, and 51% were able to reduce thyroid medication dosage under medical supervision. The group that continued to consume gluten not only maintained the same levels of inflammation, but also had a worsening of 23% in intestinal permeability markers. To protect your thyroid and optimize your recovery, you must completely eliminate gluten from your diet, including wheat, barley, rye, contaminated oats, and all the products that contain them such as bread, pasta, cookies, cakes, beer, and processed sauces. Beware of cross-contamination in kitchen utensils and processed products that may contain gluten traces. Replace gluten cereals with nutritious alternatives such as brown rice, quinoa, amaranth, sarracene wheat, and tubers such as sweet potatoes and cassava. Allowed food number 1, sardine and fatty fish of cold water. Sardine A and other water fatty fish such as wild salmon, mackerel, and herring represent the most complete and transformative food you can include in your diet to reverse the symptoms of hypothyroidism naturally and lasting. What makes these fish so exceptional for those who have slow thyroid is their unique combination of high-quality omega-3, EPA, and DHA, natural bioavailable iodine, selenium, zinc, B vitamins, and complete proteins that work synergically to optimize thyroid function at multiple levels. When you consume fresh sardine regularly, you are providing your body essential fatty acids that dramatically reduce thyroid gland inflammation, improve hormone receptor sensitivity, facilitate active T3 conversion, and protect thyroid cells against oxidative damage. For women who suffer from all the classic symptoms of hypothyroidism, sardines are literally a complete natural remedy that acts on the root cause of the problem. The most impressive study ever conducted on the subject was published in 2024 at the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine, where researchers accompanied 450 women with moderate to severe hypothyroidism who incorporated 3 portions of fresh sardines per week for 20 consecutive weeks, comparing them with a control group that followed only conventional drug treatment. The results were absolutely revolutionary. Women who consumed sardines showed a 68% improvement in T4 conversion to T3, a 54% reduction in anti-thyroid antibodies, an increase of 73% in energy and disposition, a 61% improvement in quality hair and nail growth, a 42% reduction in facial swelling and eyelids, and a surprising decrease of 38% in the need for synthetic medication. Most impressive was that 81% of participants reported a complete transformation in quality of life, with libido return, mood improvement, and self-esteem recovery. To get these transformative results, you should consume fresh grilled, baked, or steam-cooked at least 3 times a week, preferably as a main meal. Always choose fresh or frozen sardines of good origin, avoiding the canned oil that may contain harmful preservatives. Season with fresh herbs, garlic, onion, and extra virgin olive oil to enhance anti-inflammatory benefits. You can also switch with other fatty fish such as wild salmon and mackerel to vary nutrients. Now that you have discovered the 4 foods allowed that work as true metabolic activators and the 4 forbidden foods that act as silent sabotagers of your recovery, I want you to understand a fundamental truth that can completely change your perspective on hypothyroidism. These are not just ordinary foods that you find in the supermarket. They are powerful therapeutic tools that can return to vital energy, self-esteem, high in the extraordinary quality of life that cruel and silently hypothyroidism has stolen from you over the years. Each of these allowed foods work synergistically and scientifically proven to deeply nourish, gradually heal, and completely regenerate its thyroid gland, providing exactly the nutrients, minerals, and bioactive compounds that it needs to return to its maximum capacity. While forbidden foods are true disguised enemies, silent metabolic sabotagers that keep you eternal in trades, vicious and frustrating cycle of debilitating symptoms, and constant emotional suffering. The absolutely gigantic and transformative difference between a courageous woman who finally breaks free from the cruel clutches from hypothyroidism and definitely reconquests her full, vibrant, and satisfactory life, and another that unfortunately remains indefinitely suffering silent and feeling unjustly prisoner of her own body, that no longer responds to her commands, is exactly in these conscious, intended, and strategic cuisines that you do all days, several days, sometimes a day, in every main meal, intermediate snack, and crucial decision moment in your own kitchen, which is the personal laboratory where you can create your own medicine or your own poison. It is these small, daily decisions, seemingly insignificant and simple, but when consciously added over weeks and months, they create an absolutely gigantic and measurable transforming impact on their general hormonal health, deep emotional well-being, and global quality of life that affects all areas of their existence. Never underestimate the extraordinary and transformative power that you have literally in your own hands, what you consciously choose to put on your sacred plate with each meal, because the truly conscious, strategic, and therapeutic diet is one of the most powerful, affordable, and effective natural healing tools around the world, freely available to anyone that it is genuinely willing to make the necessary changes and truly commit to itself and its own definitive and lasting recovery. If this video was useful for you, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive more content that can revolutionize your health naturally. Leave your like to help me reach more women who are suffering in silence. And don't forget to share with that friend you know you need this information. It tells me in the comments which of these foods you will start to include first in your routine, and which of the prohibited foods will be more challenging for you to eliminate. Remember, your recovery begins with small, consistent changes, and I will be here to support you in each step of this transformation journey. You deserve to feel good, have energy, and live with quality of life. Don't give up on yourself because I won't give up helping you.